And here we go to kick off 2026 of Let's Be RONest. This first episode, episode 1 for 2026, we have a psychopath for you guys. This guy's nuts on social media. They call him the mad scientist. And he does some seriously ridiculous stuff. Some of which I get heebie-jeebies about, but this guy's crazy. All his builds are crazy. And you're about to see it. And we're going to interview him. And why is he so crazy? But then again, I'm just as crazy as him. So I'd like to introduce our first guest, Rob Dahm. What's up, brother?
Hey.
Oh, man, dude. From one psychopath to another.
That's right.
Welcome to the show. It's nice having you on board.
Yeah.
We're going to interview you and figure out what makes you tick.
Okay, there are a lot of things. One of them not being valves.
You're a big Rotary guy. We're going to go over it. Me, I used to be a big Rotary guy. But yeah, have a seat. And thank you for being part of the show. A lot of people on social media, even the stuff I see you doing is just off the deep end.
Yeah.
It's like, how did, now mind you, your last name, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah. That's cool. Actually, my license plate is my last name in both California and Michigan. And everybody's like, oh, how'd you get that license plate? Because they say Dahm, but it's Dahm.
It's Dahm,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But then when you see his bills, you're like, Dahm, bro! That's how I see it. I was like, is that a stage name?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
It's a Rob
Legal.
Dahm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, how, you grew up in Michigan?
Yes.
Right? And how did all this start? 4 years old, 5 years old? How did doing things insane?
You are about to get your mind blown because I am not a car guy.
Oh, wow.
To the point that I've never really shared this publicly, and it's funny because it's not like it's super personal, but it is. When I was young, my dad had a motorcycle, and he revved it, and I cried. I probably still would. As soon as it hit high RPM, I was like, no, that's terrifying.
It's too loud!
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was so scared of motor vehicles that I actually, in Cran, I'm not kidding you, signed a waiver with my parents that I would not drive until I was 35. I thought it was such a responsibility.
So you didn't like the noise?
I didn't like noise. I didn't like cars.
I'm a
Nothing.
Rotary guy, for God's sake. Go.
Yeah. So as a little kid, had zero interest in that. My thing was computers and the Guinness Book of World Records. So that's where the transition starts to occur.
What turned you on in the Guinness Book of Records? What did you witness?
So I love records. I love limits of what's the limit of human ability. And one of the things that happened was I had a paperback version. It was 1991 Guinness Book of World Records. Scholastic Book Fair in elementary school.
Yeah, I remember that.
World's fastest production vehicle, and it's weird. It's not in the hardcover. It's in only the small version. The 1991 Lamborghini Diablo was the world's fastest production vehicle, and it was this little black and white sliver of a car. And I remember reading that it was like only 42 inches tall, so I was taller than it at the time. And I was like, that is the coolest, most extreme.
How old were you when you found this out?
Second grade, third grade, somewhere there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I was.
But you didn't like cars. You didn't like noise.
But I liked the idea of a limit. For some reason I was fixated on that. And then in '94, Dumb and Dumber came out, and the idea of the red Diablo being the most extreme waste of money, an extreme unobtainable thing, that I don't know what happened. I locked in and I was like, I want my life to have lived well enough that I've bought, and I could have sold, but bought a Lamborghini Diablo.
How did you first find out about the Diablo?
Was just the Guinness World Records. I'd never heard of Lamborghini or anything. I couldn't even pronounce it. I just saw Diablo,
and so
right
then and there, poison.
Something. That was absolutely a switch that turned on, and I even went so far as to start my IT business to afford buying a Lamborghini Diablo. Because I was like, okay, how can I make money? And this is right as the .com boom was occurring, and I was 18, 17. So I started a computer business, and then it crashed. And so I struggled for quite a few years, but I grew an IT business just to buy a Lamborghini.
As an IT guy, right? And you have your humble beginnings in Detroit, right? Not into cars, mind you. What did you drive as an IT guy?
So my first car was a 1990 Pontiac Sunbird. And it was in my neighbor's front yard.
Sunbird,
Yeah. I loved that car. Like, here's where it gets
You
fun.
love that car.
Loved. Let me explain.
Go.
So I had heard about turbochargers.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a turbocharger and heard the whistle, right? And so again, there was that one weird thing that triggered it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized that the Pontiac Sunbird, the 1990, could come in a turbo version. And so I went to the junkyard and bought the manifold and turbo for a turbo Pontiac Sunbird. Thankfully, the 1.8 liter that came on did not match up to the 2 liter that mine was. So I straight up cut the exhaust manifold to make it fit, even though the runners didn't line up right.
So you now you started wrenching.
It was turbo. It was a turbo that did it. And so I was like, I want to turbocharge my car because it'll be fast and I can race people. They got
a Sunbird.
in a Sunbird, front-wheel drive Sunbird, and I cut up the exhaust manifold and everything. Just hand tools.
What? Did you have a garage? You were using
My
your
parents'
dad's-
garage.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
And so my dad was pissed because the car's in pieces. But I went and bought a. This is the funniest part. I bought a glass pack little cherry bomb muffler from AutoZone, and my dad's like, you know what that's going to lead to? It's going to lead to street races. That's going to lead to going to jail, which means going to prison, which means getting hooked on drugs.
He tried to
He was like, you're going to end up on drugs if you install that on your car. I'm not lying. That my dad was like, I was like, that life sounds very
You know what
interesting.
they call it a cherry bomb? It's gonna box. It's like the old commercials. This is your brain. This is your brain on a cherry bomb.
And so I put it on a little 4-banger, and I just was like, it sounded different than stock, and that to me was enough. But yeah, it was a turbocharger that got me all excited. I never got it to fit properly, thankfully. I would have blown the engine up immediately because I didn't know
So
about
you did
wastegates.
get it running.
I got it connected, but I didn't know about the wastegate stuff. I didn't understand what a wastegate was, and so I ended up taking it off because my dad's like, I need the garage back, and so I put the stock stuff back on. So I never got to turbocharge that car, but that was my first taste of like, I want to modify it, and it was turbo. It was just turbo.
So you were already intrigued starting off with that. Did you have let me ask you this, in your room at your parents' house, did you have a poster of a Lamborghini?
It was the Scholastic Book Fair Lamborghini Diablo, purple, lightning strikes and all that, like weirdly poor graphics, but it was the coolest, like, again, the unobtainium was on the wall, and then here's what I'm playing with now.
You know what's silly is my brother worked the same way. He's a computer nerd guy, right?
Yeah.
And he did computers because it helped pay for the racing, so it made sense. Yeah, and he was right there in the mid to late 90s in the whole computer boom.
Yeah, and what's wild is being from Detroit, I worked with a lot of tier 1 auto suppliers. So I started getting into that, like, okay, not just car parts, but here's some of the engineers building car parts, and they became friends. And obviously Detroit isn't like a hot rod. It's a muscle car central. It's the American,
all the
it's
manufacturers
American.
are.
And so, there's Woodward Dream Cruise, and I didn't connect with the big burbly V8s. It was oddly enough, there was another neighbor of my parents going through a divorce at the time, and he had to sell his FC RX-7.
Ooh.
And so my mom was.
What year was that? How old were you?
1988. And so I'm 17, 18. And I was just kind of not interested in anything. I was just in that, like, I'm too cool to be interested in anything. But I was also looking for something to be interested in.
So you ended up with the FC, your first
Here's
Rotary.
what's weird, is that my parents were like, hey, we're going to give you $4,000 for college. That was $4,000. And the problem was because I don't know how to word this. I was in the gifted program, and so I was being lazy, not getting scholarships. And so they weren't going to give me money because they wanted me to get more on my own feet, and I could have. And so they capped it at $4,000. Well, the weird part is my mom bait and switched. She shows me this neighbor selling this car. I didn't care until it hit 9,000 RPM. Again, that like limit. Like, oh my God, this is like high RPM. Like no other car does this.
Was that turbo?
No, not natural aspirated. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And so I just loved that. Like it just kept going. It felt wrong. And my mom was saying, okay, with the $4,000 that we saved up for you for college, you can buy the FC with that. And I'm like, okay, all right, I guess. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. And I love that car.
What'd you do to it?
So I thought, okay, there's the Turbo 2. The hood has that offset scoop and everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna put an intake. I'm gonna put an exhaust, and it's like 30 horsepower here, 50 horsepower here.
Oh, so you were already doing that?
So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna basically be more power than a Turbo 2. Until I lined up next to a Turbo 2 and got walked because, an intake and exhaust doesn't just magically have those numbers.
No.
But kid math, it does.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I'm like, all right, I'm not that guy yet. And so the third part of that. So it was the intake exhaust, racing a Turbo 2, and then the next thing is I finally get like my first like steady girlfriend. And I'm excited, you know, I go to pick her up. Her dad worked for Ford, which at the time owned 30% of Mazda.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out, and this is honestly shifted my trajectory for everything else. He comes out and goes, "That's not an RX-7." And she had told him, it was, you know, "Hey, my boyfriend's picking me up in an RX-7." That's not RX-7. RX-7's pretty, it's smooth, it's got these beautiful lines. He was talking about the FD.
Ah.
And I was so traumatized by that that night I was like looking at, like, there wasn't Auto Trader, really was still in paper form. The internet wasn't really like doing the thing.
Nice in paper form.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah. And so I found a random website that was listing cars, and I found an FD for sale in Tennessee, and made all the arrangements to finance it. And you know, it was $10,000. I had $4,000 because I sold the FC, and had financed $10,000 to get this FD.
Did your parents know that you were doing this?
Yeah, my dad, like, pistons are reliable, rotaries are not, you know, you're just going to waste your money and time. And he had the right points. His overall statement and thought logic was correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, okay, now I have to prove to my girlfriend's dad that, like, I'm a real man. I have an RX-7.
I'm a real
a curvy RX-7, you know. And then Fast and Furious comes out right then. And so, like, I kind of got lucky because I was buying the car as summer of Fast and Furious 1 coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I didn't recognize it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't recognize that was Dahm's car, or the video of, like, it going through the intake.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was a Rotary until years later. But, you know, so that, of course, that hype just took that to the stratosphere. But
And you're doing all this while trying to form an IT company?
Yeah. And so I had no money. I had $300 a month car payment for the $10,000 loan, and I was barely making that, but I was happy, you know. And then,
Did you end up taking it apart?
yes, the problem was I had identity theft of some sort on my credit history. In a positive sense. Some Rob Dahm had owned a house back in the 70s or something like that, so I had excellent credit. So the first thing I did was got a credit card with an $18,000 credit limit, and bought an intercooler, a Power FC, the new air intake system, a downpipe, a high flow downpipe, maxed it out immediately.
I can feel it.
And you know, got this FC data log, and all these things that were for the basic tuning, you know, the best of the ability to tune the car with stock twin turbos.
Oh.
And so I did it all, from intercooler to all that in the driveway, not in the garage this time at my parents' house, and loaded myself up with debt, and then stopped. And I stopped for a couple of years. That was the moment. But I was learning how to tune my car back in 2001.
Wow, what kind of engine management were you using?
So,
Apex FC?
Apex Power FC with a little data logging little unit, and I'd throw it in Excel and make my changes. And I didn't know what 90% of the other options were, and I just didn't mess with them. I only messed with what I felt I knew, and I never blew the car up. I put water injection on the car, because I knew that, you know, there was that limit of, like, you can only run so much boost off of pump gas, and so I wanted more. And so I added water injection to my turbos so I could raise the boost.
Where were you getting all your information?
Forums.
Oh, forums?
Yeah.
They had forums back in the day?
Yeah.
I thought you'd be looking at, like, a Turbo magazine or something
No. So, funny enough, RX7Club.com, and I was a lurker.
Ari Yallen.
Yeah.
Okay,
RX7, he was RX7.com. RX7Club.com was actually one of the biggest websites in the world back when that era of the internet. It wasn't just RX7s, you know, they had, like, general talk and all that sort of stuff. And so back then I just lurked, and I just consumed, and I started taking all that information, and I made a little website. It's no longer up, but I made a website called TurboRX7.com, where I was just aggregating all this information, and then I bought a used engine and tore it down and was documenting all this.
And this was in the late 90s?
This is 2001, 2002
Wow.
to about 2006 was when I was really doing that phase. And so long before YouTube, what happened was I just had the urge to document and prove that I had used my time wisely. So it's not cheesy, but ever since second grade, I had a journal. And quite frankly, YouTube was just an extension of the journal, of just documenting that today was well lived. And so, you know, that's why I was one of the first YouTubers.
Do you still have your journal?
I don't update it as much because I update YouTube.
But you have the ones from the second grade?
Second grade.
Do you still have that Diablo poster?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
All that. Like I was obsessed with, like, memories, you know, like pictures and, you know, just documentation of my life. And
I don't
yes,
think you're like your typical second grader.
it was very.
Where did you learn all that?
You know what? This is weird, but my journal came from learning about Anne Frank.
Wow.
You know, as a kid, you know, reading, you know, being taught that, and I just remember how important it was to hear somebody's story first person in a circumstance we can't capture it otherwise. And so that was important to me to kind of take that energy and run with it. So
wow, impressive. You didn't. Your friends in growing up in Michigan, were they into cars too?
Not really. Because in Michigan, it's really weird, especially in my hometown in Monroe. It used to be back in the 90s the highest per capita or per person income. Like Lifestyles Rich, a famous cover that Monroe was like one of the wealthiest cities per person because everybody was a union auto worker. So everybody made good middle class money. But you worked at Ford's, that's what everybody calls it.
And you had this Mazda.
Yeah, and I mean it got caught all of the racial slurs because back then it was like get that rice burner out of here, that type of shit. And so I was not well liked at the local car meets because it was all everybody bringing their Yankos and stuff like that. But they were still curious. They talk shit about the Rotary, but they're like, but one of them.
How does that work?
That one of their Winkles.
It looks like there's a K in there.
Yeah. So they were interested, but it was definitely the wrong world to build that in. And so here's what's interesting about that is that I felt very isolated that way. When I bought the Diablo, which spoiler, I ended up financing shit out of my Diablo. I own it.
You still have the RX-7?
I still have that RX-7, by the way. The one I've owned since I was 18 is the 4-rotor now.
No way.
It's Theseus ship. It went through all these upgrades to the point where what's left of it is still the VIN plate and the door sills.
Oh, nice.
That's still the same car. From bone stock all the way to what you see, Racing Ken and so on. But yeah, the Diablo was the tipping point for me, is that when I bought that car, I didn't tell anybody. The bank knew. It was their car. But my neighbors started posting on Facebook like...
So your computer company started doing well.
Yeah, the medical records became electronic medical records.
Correct, yeah, I remember that.
And I was really good at databasing, so that was where I was able to do a lot of data conversion and custom things for weird doctor's offices that were doing offbeat things.
Sick.
And was able to make a quick amount of money to do a down payment.
So you have your passion, fell in love with the Rotary, fell in love with cars, fell in love with turbocharging. How did computer work? How did that love compare?
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making data do things, and that translates really, long story short, to tuning nowadays. But it was that cool thing of like architecture of handling a lot of information. And that was really neat to see trends and make data do things. I don't know, I just really fell in love with that. But what I didn't fall in love with was sitting at my desk the whole time, And it was like, I'd have to pay so much to go do a car event. And I mean, that's the real reality of most people's lives, is that cars are, an outlet. And I had just started documenting stuff on YouTube, and I thought, well, just like everybody, like, maybe if I start a YouTube channel. And
What year was that?
So I started the YouTube channel a year into YouTube being founded, which was like 2006, 2007. And I think my channel says 2008. And what's funny is I actually tried doing something back then. I made it because I was an IT guy, right? So I was like, what if when YouTube plays a video, I have a little like thing on the side that shows like if I hold up a turbo, it shows the turbo for sale for that car. And you can, because like there's such a disconnect if I'm watching this, now it's called influencers, but back then it wasn't. It wasn't even vlogging. It was, if I have an object for sale, click on this link, and I knew that there'd be money there. Sales is money. And so I made a proof of concept of that.
And this was 06?
08.
08, okay.
Yeah. And I was trying to find somebody that was famous for car videos to promote it, to work with me on that. And there wasn't really anybody. So I was like, well, let me just make my own videos. And so I took one of the videos down, but the very first video you see is me actually talking about the Power FC and the data log it. And that was, my website worked where you could show that for sale, the Pepsi Power FC for sale, buy it here. So, you see this guy promoting it, here's, impulse buy it. And so that was what I used my YouTube channel for. And then I made a couple videos like that and then went dormant because I was doing other things, trying to make life work. And then 2011 was the first time I made it out to California.
Oh, so you've been in Michigan this whole time.
Michigan the whole time. And, California was this mythical place to me. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and I got flown out to California because I got selected to be on a show.
What show was that?
I don't think you've ever heard of it. It was a car show.
Oh, okay.
Just a bunch of guys and one girl.
Oh, that happened. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so,
how did you get roped into that?
What's really funny, so it's the Bachelorette, obviously. So what happened was I was sitting at Wendy's in my hometown, and the general manager was a friend of mine from high school. She comes up to me, she goes, "Rob, promise me you'll do something." And I'm like, that's pretty opening. I don't know her that well. And so she's like, "Just promise me." She goes, "I think you're perfect for what I want you to do." And so she's like, "They're having Bachelorette casting tryouts up in Novi. I want you to try out for this." And I was single, and I had nothing else going on. And so I went and did the tryout.
Free trip to California.
Yeah, well, yeah. I ultimately, I should have like government top secret clearance for this because the process at the time to get on that show, they have like 700 question psychology tests. They take blood tests, STD tests, all that sort of stuff. And then they don't call you back immediately, and you think you're it's bad. But so made it onto the show, and I didn't really care for the girl I just cared for the experience. I was excited for this.
Experience California.
Yeah. And so I did it, kept my dignity the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what, there's this world out here that it's not like, oh, go to California to become famous. I didn't give a shit about that. I wasn't.
Yeah, you're more a technical kind of guy.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to chase fame. I just saw that the hot rodding scene was out here. And, that's when I ran into people out here that could potentially build my dream car, which is the 4-rotor at the time, and I knew Michigan was more of a manufacturing, not fabrication, and so that's really the pivoting point. The Bachelorette fell into that, and then I started using YouTube more to document.
When did you end up here in California?
So 2014 was when I started flying out here more and more, and I was 2015 I'm building a 4-rotor, but it wasn't until 2016 I was out here more than I was up there, even though I still had the house in Michigan. And then 2018 was like, okay, I'm committed. Yeah.
So you finally made the decision saying that I'm going to follow what I enjoy for fun, get away from the IT industry, get away from that sort of thing, and I'm going to follow my passion.
Yeah, and that actually almost bankrupted me because the IT business was profitable. I finally got it profitable, and I was like, lost interest. And I was like, well, you know what? Even if I make less, but am doing what I love, it's a net benefit. Well, the problem was I was hoping that the IT business would give me like a stipend. Like I hand it to my brother and like, okay, maybe I'll make a couple grand a month doing nothing and all that because I've worked hard for that. As soon as I handed it over, it went to zero. Like the business was fine, but my money went to zero. So I had to rely on YouTube 100%.
Wow.
So I was just
back. So you took that leap of faith.
Big leap of faith, bigger than I was expecting. And I'm maxing out my credit cards and choosing which bills to pay right as I'm out here trying to make it work. And then any small interruption, everything was just waiting on the next thing. And so it was a pretty intense period of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So and then now you're
very intense part of my life too. Yeah.
Wow. But you're having fun.
Yes.
I one thing, I don't know how, don't get me wrong, Rotaries are cool, they sound great.
You said it first, you said the word Rotary first.
They sound great. My team, obviously, we built a 3-rotor RX-7, right? Or RX-8, right?
Yep.
And man, they sound great. It was great when we finally finished it. And it's always an interesting talk about because it's a keg that makes horsepower. But did you have a fair amount of blow up? I mean, I blew up a lot. It's love lost. There's a saying that goes is the best times of owning a boat is when you buy one and then you sell one, right?
Yeah.
With a Rotary, it was great buying one and then finally getting rid of it because I wasn't, me or my brother weren't the ones driving it, and so they'd always blow up. But how?
Yeah, my experience is so opposite of yours.
Really?
Yeah, I think I was accidentally brought into the cult of Rotaries.
The cult of Rotaries?
By sheer luck of like, okay, the NA Rotary will last almost forever. You're not racing it, right? But then my FD I never hurt that motor, the one I was tuning back then. I never hurt it because I was never really. We talked about this off camera, but I was driving it like I cared about the engine. So I've had to train myself to drive more like a race car driver, but I always drove as a with mechanical symphony at #1, and so I don't think I ever put my cars in a position to blow them up. Therefore, I never had that like heartbreak of like, oh, this engine sucks. And so the thing that really was the tipping point for Rotaries for me was like, okay, I bought the 3-rotor that I'm known for, actually, this car right here, very first version of this, and it was not only, it was making 600, 700 horsepower, and it was just the most raggedy build ever. And it was just so much fun, just blowing the tires off, no real boost control per se.
Because you owned it, you took care of it.
Yeah, so I started making it better, and I mean this is like version 17 of that.
That's your Pikes Peak car, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
and what is your claim to fame with this car?
That's the first car that I went viral with. So
oh wow!
What it's like owning a 3-rotor RX-7, I think it's at like 5 million views now. That was this car. Well, the back half, not that windshield, no, not those doors, the rear hatch. That's about it of the same original car. But it was just what it's like owning a 3-rotor. And honest to God, I thought it was played out. I thought by the time I made that video, YouTube was already like saturated, and I was so wrong. But it was just the idea of like this raggedy car making way too much power, shooting flames and doing all that sort of stuff, and that's what really took off. Now, mind you, I wanted to use a song in that video so badly that I made $0 off it. So it went to AWOL Nation with sale. I just wanted sale from the AWOL Nation video. Sale! So I didn't make any money off it, but people became aware of me. So so like I said, the majority of this car is now super custom. It's
I can when I look at this car, right, and I see, now mind you, this isn't some crazy JGTC car,
right,
but when I look at it, there's a lot of thinking going on that I see that you've done.
Yeah, the funny part is this was a lot of hypotheticals that ended up becoming race ran. So these are my first time 3D printing something, and I was like, okay, I want.
This is why they call you the mad scientist.
You know what it is? It's that like a little bit more. My goal with this build was I have a 1,000 horsepower rotary. I want the most thermally efficient version of that because rotaries are not thermally efficient. So I was like, let me get as much cooling through this car, and okay, well, I'm gonna have to learn how to 3D print because I bought that CNC machine to cut metal down. Now, okay, I want to build plastic up and then get good at composites and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, well, let's make sure that all the air going into the front duct goes into the coolers.
So this was specifically for Pikes Peak?
This is a Pikes Peak thing. Time attack, is like, warm up lap, and then the car's already overheating, do your hot lap, literally, and then pull it back in and cool down. So I wasn't really as worried about that. But Pikes Peak, I just knew that, okay, this thing's got to be like, can't get up to temp here.
There's no air up there.
Yeah, it's 60% of the air that's here at the top up there. And so the most important thing to me is...
Woo, boy!
So
I've got the size of that turbo.
Yeah. I've had a...
Dom!
That's the appropriate reaction.
Dom!
So the interesting thing is for the most part, any other 3-rotor you see in an FD,
you drive-by-wire, same as we did that too. Go.
Yeah. So
sorry.
You'll notice how far back that is.
Yeah.
Stock, the steering rack and the engine don't play nice. So if you ever see a 3-rotor FD RX-7, I can already promise you that it has the worst bump steer ever.
I know. So I had one, and we had to hack all kinds of stuff because of all where the rack and pinion
first. Yeah. So I was like, I'm so sick of the bump steer and trying to correct it in the wheel that I shift the engine back 8.5 inches to get the steering rack right. It's touching.
Yeah, I can see it right here in the lineup.
But it went back to FD handling, and the engine now makes this car 50-50 weight distribution.
I'm considering it's cast iron block.
No, so it's not. It's all aluminum.
Is that one all aluminum?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So this thing's light.
Yeah. So this car.
And you've driven this car at Pikes Peak?
Twice now. First year I did it, and the fastest RX-7, which is an arbitrary goal, but still important to me. But then the next year, last year, the race got cut short because of weather, And so I turned all my safeties off and just made it a drag race from the starting line to as far as I could go. And I ended up blowing the turbo in half, one turn before the end. But I was faster than Mad Mike in his 4-rotor with, you know, him as a driver and his, you know, like everything. So
you hold the record at Pikes Peak for
RX-7s. And the only person that's been faster as a Rotary is Mad Mike, but I was faster than him last year. Had the race not been shortened and had not.
Who's the record holder?
I guess it'd be Mad Mike, but that's
in the Mazda 3 that he made.
Yeah, so my thing's, and again, this is being pedantic to give myself, like, just make myself feel good, but, you know, RX-7 chassis, I'm the fastest. Compared to, like, Rod Millen, who, quite frankly, he did it in dirt, so he's still faster than me in my opinion. But my time says faster, but it was all paved. So,
you know, funny thing, okay, when I think of Pikes Peak, I think of that white Mitsubishi Evo that fell off the mountain. In fact, his co-driver lives out in Houston, right?
Oh, really?
And he told me his whole story about it. He's just like, oh, we're fucking dead, right?
Yeah.
So, with you driving Pikes Peak, right? Where's your driving experience? I mean, being able to drive Pikes Peak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to drive a road course, but to drive up Pikes Peak and not fall off the mountain?
Yeah.
Where did you get your skill?
So a couple things. One is the why. When I did stuff for Top Gear as a host for their American series.
Oh, you were on Top Gear?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
nice.
was a host for for the YouTube series. That
Oh,
they
gotcha.
do. And so I went up Pikes Peak my first time as a passenger. And so the guy that was driving, David Donner, I asked him, would you be willing to drive my RX-7, but really it was the 4-rotor, once I get it all done up, can you drive it up Pikes Peak? And I don't have the ego, I don't need to be the guy. I already am the guy that built it, that's cool. And he's like, no, screw that. You put all that effort into building it, you need to haul your ass up this mountain. Do it yourself. And he was challenging me to be better. And so he's like, apply the first year, get declined, go second.
But you had no drive, no
very little.
Oh, wow.
I've done a couple track days.
You got some balls.
Yeah. I was like, but the thing, my theory was, I don't drive to. This is going to be a controversial thing. I don't drive because I love driving. I drive because it teaches me how to be a better builder.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You're 110% true.
So I was like, I don't know how to build a good car better than the version I had before was atrocious because I didn't know what the car needed. And so now knowing how to drive, this was my, within the environment I was given, this is my best. I mean, this is a really fun ass car. This is a fun car to drive. I will be honest, I would love for you to drive it because it's just fun and it's fast and the arrow's a little off balance because I have a massive rear wing that's not really balanced.
So you got this thing will probably understeer.
Yeah, which is fun. Like
which is fun. Yeah, understeer is not fun.
No, hear me out.
Understeer is not fun. That means you're going off the mountain.
Yeah. I didn't do that with up the mountain, but what I mean is Lime Rock. At Lime Rock, there's one left turn. Everything else all right turns. And that one left turn, you can just let off, or hit the brakes, just let off the gas. The car puts all the weight in the front. That rear is not coming loose. So you can really do this weird kind of trail brakey, like let the car's rear end try and hang out. It's not going to kick out. So I instead of just going to a turn and turning left, I was letting off and trying to rotate the rear, and it just wouldn't get stuck. Now, could it be faster? Yes. But with what I have, it was way faster than just, left turn, turn left. So I don't know. It was just teaching me how to build and drive. And just
with you mentioning that, right? Some of the most not dangerous in a good way.
Yeah.
Dangerous drivers are the ones that understand mechanically what's going on in the car. It's just like Days of Thunder, where the crew chief asked Tom Cruise, I didn't understand a word you said, a wedge here, a wedge there. They put me in a car, I knew how to drive it. But with drivers who are able to understand the mechanics of it, but I give you balls to go. Was Pikes Peak your first endeavor as a driver?
I would say official. Like if you put if I had a official list of what I've done, everything else was grid life and test and tune days and just having fun. And with the thing that I felt that I would excel at Pikes Peak, and thankfully I can say this on the other side of saying it did, is that I love memorizing things. And so 156 turns, I felt like that's a different thing than perfecting 5 turns. And so I get bored perfecting 5 turns, but being really good at all of them.
And you had not 1 ounce of fear that you would fall off the mountain?
Okay, here's the thing I will say. I'm gonna draw a line in the sand here. Is I'm gonna say that it's not as scary as people think because of your optimism. Especially if you're studied. I did countless hours of sim driving. The thing is that you really are just focused on the lines, and you're like, oh, this turn, this turn. You're not focused on the peripheral. It's terrifying driving down the mountain. And that's the other thing to me is at 10-degree angle, your car wants to slow down at all times. But when you're going down, your car wants to speed up, and that's terrifying. And you don't know the road backwards. So I feel like it gives you, I could say false sense, but it does give you this weird sense of security of like, okay, I'm just doing what I did in the game, and what I think the magic secret to that was that I geared the car in the game. I modified the car in the game to match my gearing of this car because it's unique.
That's why you didn't have any fear.
And so I
It's
just
a
do top of fourth. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, oh, I'm not at the top of fourth. I could be going faster because in the game I was top of fourth, and it scaled. I shouldn't say dangerously, but dangerously well. Where I was just like, okay, I could push it a little bit more. And the car in the game handled like shit. So my car could handle better than the car in the game. So
you're like, this is great. This is way better in the game.
Never broke traction. There's one turn that's really iconic where I sauced it a little too soon and the car kicked out, and then you see me get it settled and I'm back on the throttle, and all the fans are going nuts and everything like that. And so there was one turn where I tested the limit and went to a little too fast and spun the car a little bit, but you could hear that it wasn't a fear, it was a confidence of, okay, get the car back. And I'd just gotten back from rally school, and I would argue that rally school is probably the best school for learning something like that.
Wow.
Weight transfer.
I applaud your confidence. You know what I mean?
It's like I said, optimism and just blinders, I guess.
Wow. And the propensity for your curiosity, because you built this. That's one thing I enjoyed too with building cars was you do something, oh, what's it do? What's it gonna do? And as you're in the middle of building it, right? Yeah. You're like, I can't wait to see what it does. And then you're like, wow, that made a big difference.
Yeah. There were so many. Obviously, I'm very data centric, and so like I have every single input on the Heltec's highest ECU. I have every single input, like barometric pressure sensor. Temperature coming off the turbo, temperature past this, pressures everywhere, turbos, you name all these sensors, because then I realized, okay, how to be a better driver.
That is king.
I'm tuning my driving, or tuning, the coolest thing, this is the coolest thing, is that I have shock level sensors on all 4 wheels, and they're recording every millisecond. And on the top section of Pikes, it's got so much worse every year that there's a section where at speed, your car, you can see the front 2 tires extend the shocks fully. Wow. And then you see the rear 2 shocks.
Oh, because there's no air at the top.
Well, there's no air, but the road has settled under here, and you're in a braking zone. The road is gone, and for over a quarter of a second, over 250 milliseconds, all 4 tires are fully trying to grab something in a braking zone. And so, but the data from testing, as I was getting faster and faster, that was getting more and more extreme. I knew brake, let off, brake. And so I could go into that turn faster.
That is king.
And so it was just, instead of braking and then the car hits and slides, and then, bad things happen there. It was data.
Huh. Let's say, are you going to Pikes Peak this year?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, fuck. Let's say you get a day where, let's say a practice day at Pikes Peak, right? And then you finally go back to your hotel room. How many hours do you spend looking at data?
Oh, that's as much as I can without ruining sleep, which is already ruined. But I've got a formula, I shouldn't say formula, I've got a ritual that works so perfectly the day before Pikes, is that night before I go to sleep, I will see if I can remember every single corner in my head. I will drive it, and if I can't remember, is that one little zigzag or whatever, I start over. And so both years, the night before I go, or the night before race day, is drive the whole thing in my memory. And it's
wow.
The first couple turns, easy. But then when you're you start losing interest or you're wandering, no. I'm not going, takes whatever, however many.
So you're already visualizing the whole run in your head at, I had a previous guest on the show, James Dean.
Yeah.
Right?
Awesome guy.
And James Dean had said that before an event even happens, or even during a practice day, right? When he gets to the hotel, he'll be laying in bed, driving the whole course and making adjustments. So he's already visualizing. And it's funny, you do the same thing.
Yeah, that works.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
So what kind of changes are you going to do?
Yes.
For you being Tony Stark, I would compare you to. Actually, you look more like Wolverine in my opinion. Hugh Jackman. Yes, all you need is the fangs on your fingers. But with Pikes Peak, I would imagine you have your brain is working tirelessly. Yes. What are you going to do to this thing?
So I have.
You have an understeer problem, so I'm curious what you're going to do there.
I have bigger problems than that because, like I said, I was already going to almost hit a 10-minute even time, which is my goal. I don't want to go under 10 minutes.
What's the record?
Mad Mike's was 10:34.
Uh-huh.
And then I did an 11:0 something 11:2 my first year. So that was pretty impressive for me. That less car, and I made it. And then last year I was on track to do almost a 10-minute even.
Ooh.
And so the thing
Mad Mike, you're gonna get served, bro.
I know I can beat him. That's the cool part.
Yeah.
But I want him to come back because that was his first time too. Now he's a professional drifter and all that, and he's got a lot of sponsors and all that sort of stuff. But I would love to keep that going.
Well, not to take anything away from your fabrication or anything like that, right? But this car is like the epitome of grassroots.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's nothing. I'm a guy who built a splitter out of plywood. You know what I mean? On our arc shape, but I can tell you're tinkering with this. You know what I mean?
So, like for example, these are made out of ABS, and you can see the different sections that I printed on my printer. And then what's cool about ABS printing is you can take acetone and melt it, and then fuse them together. So, like when you say grassroots, that's making this massive thing, solving a problem with a more home-built solution. Now, the thing is that with the air being so thin up there, this turbo spins about 30,000 RPM above its limit.
Ooh, that's not good.
And so that's what ended up hurting me. That creates a lot more heat, and it ended up snapping itself in half on a shift.
I would imagine. Shifting
and turbo overspinning are my two issues that if I just fix those, I could probably run a 10-15 and be safe. But there's the one thing, Ron, that I will say, especially about a rotary, there is a significant difference between running it 90% and 100%. And it's almost double. It's whatever the heat, the critical, everything. 90%, you can run this car all day long at 90%. 100%, shit starts breaking quickly, and it's just this like exponentially insane thing. Where the first year, I made it all the way to the end, and I was perfectly fine. The car, I drove it all the way back down to shoot flames, the anti-lagging. But the second year, because every single turn was just top off, and you were talking about hitting the rev limiter, I was just pushing the car to its fullest. Issues just escalated so much quicker. So now I got this data of how to do a 10-minute run that nobody can take from me. I have this log, and I know how to fix all of these
you've
things.
already seen it.
Yeah, so that's why last year was so, everybody else was all like, oh, race is short, what a waste of an event. I'm like, no. I now have data that you couldn't pay for. Other than doing what I did. It was a wasted year. I used it perfectly.
So, how are your hopes in getting the record up there?
I honestly feel very confident. I feel
nice.
like it feels like.
Sorry, Mad Mike.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
It feels
more reason for you to come out.
He's a competitive person too, so we're good friends. But he's a driver.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he's coming from driving, going into like building more, and I'm coming from building, going into driving. So we're kind of like crossing paths, going, what are you doing?
But he's got a lot of backing him.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like the underdog, even though I'm not, compared to him, I am. And so I like staying hungry, staying, able to adapt, change.
Well, you seem to be more of a person of curiosity.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what drives you.
Yeah.
Curiosity.
Yeah, and it's data, curiosity, seeing. And the other thing is like, who wouldn't, like, I don't forget, like, all the fans that watch what I do, somebody's out there going, if I was in that spot, I would be doing this. He's wasting his opportunity. And I think I'm that guy worrying about wasting the opportunity. I'm like, what can I do while I'm still relevant? You know, because I imagine YouTube goes up and it comes down. Mine's gone up and just kind of, I've always stayed right underneath mainstream, and I love that. But someday, what happens? So I'm like, let's take advantage of every opportunity while I can still, you know, make some differences.
I would imagine just as long as you stay true to your curiosity, I think you'll be just fine. Because a lot of people put content out there, right, to appease the masses, right?
Yes.
But with you is a genuine curiosity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And mind you, it doesn't have to be $1 million carbon fiber box. You could say, yeah, I built this. You know what I mean? If you're to now, mind you, with the greatest respect, Mike, we're good friends and everything, right? But if you look at a man Mike build, I mean, dude, that thing looks like it's worth $250,000, and not to take away from your love of shit, right? But
yeah, that's my knowledge.
When I see it,
yeah.
I see curiosity. Yeah. I see you tinkering. Yes. I see you staying up until 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, looking at data. Oh, here's a question, right? And then waking up at 6 to go for the first round, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because what fuels you from the conversations we're having right now is curiosity, and I love it, yes. Right? But there's got to be a balance. You know what I mean? I'm wondering what kind of Rob Dahm can only take so much.
Yes, I am hitting that limit considerably. Not with Rotaries, and I think the reason why is that the world left a lot on the table for Rotaries to improve, but the optimism I had getting into the Cosworth program, when there are over 100 very intelligent,
we'll talk about that in
Rob
a minute.
Dahms,
yeah.
Doing what Rob Dahm is trying to do, I found human limit to be the biggest problem.
Because you're driving, right, on race day, and then looking at data at the same time, and then working on the car, and the YouTuber, plus working on the car at the same time. I mean,
yeah.
How do you do it?
That part, you'll notice, and I think this is where I'm very thankful for my core audience, is that they're very understanding of how bad the content gets, because it's genuinely the moment. You know, I'm not racing up Pikes Peak to make a video. I'm making a video to be able to afford racing up Pikes Peak, and I think that they understand that. Where I could be a much better storyteller. So that is what suffers first, because for me to be looking at data and being, okay, if the wheel speed, blah, 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 blah. Oh, hey guys, by the way, so we're, you know, like, maybe I'm gonna get some froyo later. No, you know, it just goes out the window. And it's just very, I'm gonna die if I don't get this done.
Yeah.
And so that suffers first. And then driving suffers next. Because quite frankly, my issues with this car aren't driving. If I had a perfect car, I would be able to do a 10-minute drive. I'm a driver capable with this type of car of doing a 10-minute run, but as a builder, I'm not.
So let me ask you this, right? Me personally, from my experience racing, my biggest thing is to kick everybody's ass, right? And go above and beyond to kick everybody's ass, right?
Yeah.
But take for instance this Pikes Peak thing. Are you more fueled with braking that time, or are you more fueled on the making adjustments to the vehicle, and the time is, if anything, a result?
You know the answer. You asking that question knows the answer. Is that my audience? When I have my core audience, they get where I'm coming from. But when my videos get viral, the people don't understand. I don't give a shit if I'm first place.
Oh,
I can be down here. I still won.
I love it.
You're watching my video. I won. I got to race Pikes Peak as a rando. You know, like I'm already winning. Like for me, that's my competitive side is filled, because what my hope happened. My dream came true. Now, obviously, I'm bummed out if I didn't make it. But like a lot of people were like, "Are you so upset that your car blew up one turn before the end?" I'm like, no, I have data. Everybody else was all bummed out. They all made it. They all made it to the finish line, and they were all like, oh, what a shit event. You're like, we just really sucked. I'm with the fans because they had to tow my car. I'm grinning ear to ear. I did something memorable. It obviously wasn't foolish. It was pushing the limits, and I couldn't have had anything better. So yeah, I'm fueled by that. People do not understand. The general public does not understand that me getting to drive an IndyCar when I am so unqualified to do so. You know what I mean? It's the truth. Like, we all are, unless our name's Will Power or something.
Yeah.
So like, I won. I did it. You know, so everything else is just icing on the cake. But like you said, it's the data.
Yeah, the data.
Is so
just
cool.
looking at data and going, speaking in days of thunderstorms, we put a little wedge here and a little bump here.
Yeah.
And when you implement something new and then you take it out again, you're like, holy shit, it fucking worked. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe I was influenced by something when I was much younger, is I always wanted to be a person of experience. I don't want to necessarily be the subject matter expert, but I want to be able to say, if somebody says, hey Rob, what's your thought on this? I can speak from experience, and I've got more than just, hey, I was a failed Bachelorette contestant as my history. I've got all these different things that I could talk about.
Yeah.
Most of them are rotaries, but like it's just cool to be able to tell
Rotaries.
stories. Yeah. That's why I went to high revving Cosworths. But you know what I mean? Like just to be that is a success in my book.
I have a feeling you're not going to stop because curiosity is what fuels you. And even for somebody like me, it's just seeing the result after you put your hands in a modification on something and seeing it work. In our case, we were getting drunk and figuring out how to, from my forte is front wheel drive drag racing, dyslexic racing, right? And so, when you're drinking and looking at the car and just going, what can we do here? What can we do there, right? And lo and behold, we need wheelbase. And then when you enact it and you take it on track, you're like, shit, it fucking worked.
Yeah.
And then especially with the rise of data loggers, oh my gosh,
cheating. In my opinion, it's the most fair cheating ever. But
yeah.
But here's the thing about this car. This car is now capped. This is one of the hardest things I've had to do. Is that this is my 3-rotor.
Okay.
It is a rear-wheel drive car. This is within reason. This is the final version of the car. I promised myself. I'm swearing to you, swearing to myself that this will not get crazier because I have the all-wheel drive 4-rotor. That's my magnum opus. And so one of my hardest growth moments has been, yes, but okay, this car we could get really crazy with this, and this, but
that's usually what happens.
Exactly, but I have a car to do that with. So this car has hit its final form. Make some modifications, maybe unbolt the rear wing, bolt a different rear wing on.
I'd put a bigger splitter on the front of it.
Exactly.
From hell.
Yeah. I have little front wings I've added to it, but that's it. Modify it a little bit. But this car is fundamentally finished, and I'm telling myself that even now because I want to
You know why Rob is saying that? Because he does not want to open Pandora's box and go down this rabbit hole into this vehicle.
Nope, it's done. It's perfect. Yeah.
It looks so familiar and so painful from my experience with my RX-8, but the beauty behind every detail I see, the data logging and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Tell me about some of what's been going through your mind with this thing.
I'll treat this like a business.
Wait, how many years has this been? This painting.
This is Theseus ship where it's changed. It's the same car, but it's not the same car. I've had this car since 2012.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I think the intake manifold and the rear 3/4 is the last of it that's the same. But the thing is, this is my theory, my working theory of what it takes to run a 1,000 horsepower rotary at full tilt for 15 minutes. So that's everything. Everything you see is my guess, and it's been proven in some ways, of saying here's what it takes for 1,000 horsepower at the wheels, rotary, nonstop. So obviously it's mostly thermal management.
Yeah, I can see that.
2 radiators, the main radiator in the front, second radiator over there.
These are oil, right?
That's radiator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then this is oil.
Oh, wow.
And then thick but tall, not tall, intercooler. Very efficient core, so I don't need to take up too much of that front area. And so that main radiator is doing a lot of work. Side radiators, everything's doing a lot of work here. So the engine is just doing what my formula, I guess that you call it, since I've made 1,000 horsepower years ago. And it was really awesome, but I made 1,000 horsepower on a dyno pull, not sustained gear and gear and gear. This is a 6-speed sequential Currently it's manually shifted, but for Pikes Peak I do air shifting. So I keep my hands on
Keep your hands on the wheel, yeah.
I love messing with the shifter. Why my 4-rotor just pulling the shifter is one of the most enjoyable automotive experiences. Just to click, click, you know, shooting flames on it. So this is really, in one way you'd say 1,000 horsepower rotary, and the other way you'd say this car is 1,000 horsepower turbo, and everything else supports that turbo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You know, you could look at
exactly.
air pump style.
Yeah.
So everything that's the goal with this car. And so oiling, cooling, electricity, everything as stable as possible. So it's really like an operating room for this engine is making it in stable environment where it doesn't know that it's racing up Pikes Peak. It doesn't know it's doing anything extreme. It's got nice supporting modification. So in here, it was a full you know, interior car. Now, you know, not so much. So
are these your side plates on it for downforce?
Yeah.
And you implemented these last time you were up there?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so that was my first time of like, I machined a piece and was epoxying them, and so they add about 250 pounds of downforce in the front.
And you still want more.
Oh yeah, I need more. What's funny, I can tell you right now, because of the shock level and the motion ratios and the spring rates and all that, this wing in Denver, so we're already a mile up in the air, this wing, as you see it, at 130 miles an hour, produces 1,700 pounds of force in the rear of the car, and without those, lifts the front of the car 500 pounds.
Yeah, that's why you have to have that balance between front and rear.
I never thought that there's a motion arm of this is pushing back.
It's a lever.
Yeah, it's a lever. It's picking the front of the car up.
Yeah.
And so that was I was blown away because in Denver, there's a racetrack, Pueblo Motorsports Park, where there's a front straight, and it's their drag strip. So it's the smoothest straight.
I'm surprised you haven't put potentiometer strain gauges on the wing mounts.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
They make those, right? You know that, right?
I didn't even think about that. My thing was the shock level sensor. You know, so I know the force of, like, it's obviously shaking, but at least on that stable surface, I can take the average of this whole time.
Did you put that wing in the front?
Yeah, like a Group B or some wild.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Pro-Am can.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the thing, is that this car is locked in at this. This is I'm not changing this one.
Just make sure it's reliable. That way you can do some driving.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oh wow! Is that downpipe? My gosh!
Yeah. A lot of people don't know this.
Oh no! Wait, no.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Oh, you have it off the side now.
I caught the car on fire my first run up Pikes Peak because I had I was trying to blow the diffuser with the exhaust. And all.
Yeah. Speed up the air underneath.
Yeah. Worked, except it caught the back of the car on fire.
Yeah, you don't want to cut you on fire.
Yeah, so,
Baby Jesus, help me.
Yeah. They're like, do not burn our forest down. So yeah. So again, that ended up shooting the exhaust just out there. It was Pikes Peak who told me, hey, just shoot the exhaust. Exhaust out the fender. I'm like, duh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, this is my best attempt at a really fun.
What sequential transmission you're running?
That is a PPG box.
Oh, nice.
And Tick is our main supporter of this car. They sent me that transmission, and so they've been absolutely incredible. And that transmission's a tank. I've drag raced with it. I've done everything with it. The thing is just a beast. So
what dry sump unit are you running on there?
Yeah, so I have a custom thing I did some machining on. You know, Rotaries are weird with their little dry sumps. Yeah, then a massive ARA tank, and yeah, just 3 gallons of oil just to keep her happy.
Yeah, because that adds in part of your cooling capacity, right?
Yeah. At the top of Pikes Peak, you know, I'm sponsored by Valvoline, right? And what I do want to say is, I talked to their trobologist, that's like the official like chemist of oil. And
what was it called? The tribology?
Oh, nice. Tribology, yeah. And so I was like, how hot can I get the oil? Because I was like, let me just like run it to the limit. And they said basically get it to 300 degrees. Anything above that, it starts to double in how fast it degrades. At the top of Pikes Peak, I was at 290.
Nice.
Yeah, so, and car bearings, everything perfectly fine.
Nice.
That was first year. Second year was much colder. But yeah, so like I said, limit. This is done, you know, within reason. There's so much more I could show you, but this is like I said, a place and time.
Well, it so happens your Iron Man cave is right next door.
Secret location.
Yeah, I with seeing all your content, right? Rotaries is your first love, but now you're getting involved in open wheel vehicles.
Yes. Yeah.
Let,
I got a lot of really cool stuff to show you. This has been like
let's go over there. I want to check it out because there's nothing beats going to Rob Dahm's Bat Cave and seeing the bearded lady all over the place.
Yeah.
Let's see what curiosity is in Rob's garage now.
And this is about as clean as it can be.
Now, you know what's funny? Is the cleanest garages are the ones where work's not being done.
Exactly.
The dirtier, the better.
Yep. All right.
Now we're gonna head over to Tony Stark's cave.
Yeah, a couple-minute drive.
Look at this thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I'm really excited. Oh, we can turn that thing off. I'm really excited because I finally got a chance to set stuff up.
Wow. Oh, it's you can yank the sleeves out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Sick. Look at this. Typical high dollar stuff, all anodized plugs and everything.
Yeah. So when
This is definitely not Rob Dahm style, by the way.
Not at all. Not at all. I'll show you my style, but yeah. So I bought all of the used Cosworth XD engines, all the IndyCar engines, in effort to get the parts for this car. So it starts with this car, and I bought this as I didn't know this when I bought it.
If you want to learn some shit, you buy something like this. This is why you got it, right?
I bought it as that's what I thought. My theory was if I buy this, I know how to have the fastest cars in the world. Let me learn from how they're built.
Yeah.
And I could be a better builder. Well, I bought this as a show car. It was set up as put it in a lobby type of car. It was not a race car. Even though it had been raced, all the parts had been gutted. I didn't know that. And so I set out to buy the engine for this. And then I was like, well, screw it. If I'm putting this much money into this, I want to have the parts to push that until it pukes. Learn.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't realize that the remaining 20 some engines in the world were for sale, and they wouldn't sell me parts for that engine without me buying all of it. So,
all or none.
All or nothing.
Sounds like something Rob would do.
Yeah.
All or none. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah. So, I know zero. I've never built a piston engine in my life. I get how they work.
Rotary
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. And so everybody else is like, oh, it's so mystical with the rotaries. No, a valve train is mystical. And so I took apart that engine to a certain extent, to the point where I was like, okay, I'm out of my league, and then put it back together. And we just
You got scared?
I did because what it was the timing.
Rob Dahm is human. He's mortal.
I didn't know what everything was timed to. I didn't know how to undo it. I didn't know how to redo it. I was like, this isn't that engine, but this one I'm learning how to do all the cam timing.
Yeah.
So I built the short block, and now I'm working on learning how to build the heads. But this whole intake manifold, look at them.
Oh, barrel!
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I knew I would get that response from you.
Wow, barrel!
Yeah.
Okay, you have to understand, right? Your typical vehicles, even to this day, use a throttle plate, right? There's a big hole, there's a throttle plate. And this throttle plate's in the way. So in higher forms of motorsports, especially, well, this one's turbocharged, but normally aspirated, they call this a barrel throttle body. So there's no throttle plate whatsoever. If you're at full open, whoa!
There's no restriction.
There's no restriction.
Yeah, so that's just
shit.
mesmerizing.
Look at that.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, and if you look inside, it's completely and utterly open.
Yeah. So this has been just.
What year was this?
So these first came out in '96, and then they ran until 2001. And they tried doing some other things with them afterwards, but this is the hill I'm going to die on, is that I feel, and the data proves this, is that this was the pinnacle of performance. When I bought all of this, you can see that top shelf.
Nice. That looks beautiful.
Yeah, all of
beautiful.
There's 50 different pistons, but you could see their innovation occurring. Like this is a moment in time, because nowadays they already know all this. So like I got to buy and then become like Sherlock Holmes and see, okay, this is this one, this is the difference, this is what's better. They were getting better, throwing infinite amount of
And
money.
so their logbooks are up there, and now you're deciphering their logbooks through the
Oh, I'm gonna be here. Stay there. Okay.
Mad scientist, and we're at the lab.
They'll be able to hear. Okay, so.
Woo!
So
Shit!
This is just engine number 77, and this is.
Are they dated?
Yes. So this is back in
99.
99, and this is build number 14. And so within build number 14, I have all of their cam timings. They show all their like offsets, what parts were used.
Wow.
And then that one's not even like.
Sorry, guys, we're kind of nerding out right now.
Yeah. So like, there's these notes. Okay, they mileaged out stuff. I mean, obviously, that they're like, we don't want to take a chance. It's not that they were bad. The parts are bad. It's just that they couldn't take a risk.
We did the same thing in drag racing where because I was the guy building. Me and my buddy Vince were building the engine. The best part after a race. Right, the best part after a race is not racing it. The best part after a race is tearing it apart and going, "Ooh, look at what happened here," and then we'd do the same thing.
Yeah. So this has been incredible because nobody's taught me how to rebuild these things. I see it hidden within these notes, and so this one's a good example where this is like all the tolerances of what type of bearings to use.
Nice.
And then here's how tall the fire rings are. Here's how they did all the deck height.
Holy shit, they gave you everything.
Exactly. So I can look at the valve to piston clearance. What's wild is one of the Cosworth guys after I was like, hey, there's like whatever 15 or no 35 thousandths of clearance on your pistons. Does that make sense? He goes, yeah, when it's sitting right here. But he goes at 15,000 RPM, it stretches and touches. It will leave a witness.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit, it's 35,000.
So that way you get max compression.
That piston's moving so fast that thing's stretching and just touching. He goes, yeah, if you clearance this motor right, which is 35 thousandths to 37 thousandths of piston to valves, it will tap and touch right at 15.
Look at how short this stroke is. Look,
yeah,
it's this. The piston's probably that big.
Yeah.
And then this. If you know anything about motors, right? This thing, what's this thing revved to?
15,000.
Yeah. That's gonna sound like beauty, but look at how short that stroke is. This thing's gonna rev to the moon.
Here you go.
Woo! Boy, that is a beautiful piece of metal. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Look at the shaft ring on it. Look how small, and you can see how short the stroke is on that to achieve 15,000 RPM.
Yeah.
This definitely is not no fast. Have you ever wondered?
Yes.
Look at that thing. Have you ever wondered? Of course you've wondered. What the F1 technology looks like.
So this came out right before Cosworth's CA, which is the fastest engine ever to rev. So that's 20,000 RPM. And so the Cosworth guys, the ex-Cosworth guys that have retired, were giving me hints and pieces that this shares a lot of that.
Really?
Yeah, those teams were building and innovating at the same time. Now that CA came out right after this one. But again, it's
like
that
the 90s.
golden era, early 2000s. And so you can actually see, exactly.
Wow, look at how cute and short that is.
Yeah. So this is actually these are race pistons because they have two rings instead of a qualifying.
Yep, these are anti-detonation rings right there.
Yeah, so that's the big piston.
Oh wow, they're running a 3-ring pack.
Yeah.
Is that a 3-ring
Yeah,
pack?
two compression and one oil.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so
did they run gas ports?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so this is the qualifying piston.
Here, just give you an idea, right? This is super. If you even look at the side profile, right, you'll see that the one that needs to last for a long time is taller, whereas the So they ripped the motor out for qualifying?
Two motors.
Oh, wow. And you can see how short, if we were to put this on a scale, this is much more shorter.
And lighter.
And lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, so the qualifying was meant for that 50 mile or so, just all out, just make it fast as possible.
Dude. Oh, this one's obviously your race piston right there, and this is the qualifier.
Yeah.
Sick. Wow.
Yeah. So
They run gas ports to help seal the ring. 1, 2, yeah. Whew. People may think, well, for nerds like us, right? People may think this is just a regular piston, but there's a lot of sexiness that you can see on the piston
From the late 90s.
So now let me ask you this, right? Obviously, Rotaries gave you a fair amount of awakening, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel reborn, getting all this high-end stuff? Do you feel like you just got born again?
So here's the thing. If we just look at yeah, do you want to play? I paused because I know he's.
Look at how cute this little bastard is, right?
Yeah.
All right, your typical rod's gonna be this long, right? And this looks, and mind you, this your typical rod's gonna be long and this, but look at how short this bad boy is. But in order to run 15,000 RPM, right? You're sloshing around. You're sloshing around this rod. You're throwing this rod around. Is this chromoly?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
No, I think it is. It'd be lighter if it was titanium. So you're sloshing around this, throwing this rotor around, this rod around at 15,000, at 15,000 RPM, right? And so it's got to be able to handle that much RPM. But look at how short it is. But you produce more power because it's more cycles per minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
RPM. Yeah. If you're just swinging 9,000 cycles, and that means how many cycles of fuel and air were going into the motor produce that power. But with 15,000, guess what? You're going to produce more power because it produces more combustion cycles in 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah. So this engine makes about, we'll just say, just shy of 300 foot-pounds of torque, but it makes 900 horsepower because it's 15,000 RPM. So it's way up.
Wow. SPS. Nice. Oh, you know, it's standard. It's probably H11.
So here's the optimism coming back, is that I felt like alloys technology has improved since then.
It sure has.
That you could build this and be even faster.
Yeah.
You know, not me, but me learning. I could learn and talk to experts because
what are the chances of spinning it at 18,000 RPM?
Exactly. That's what we're communicating without saying anything.
It looks like you need to hire him.
Yeah. No, that's bad. That's bad. Yeah.
Okay, when you figure the enjoyment, I mean, for me personally, drag racing back in 05, 06, right, is we'd race, you'd run a number, and you'd figure that was your enjoyment, right? But for me personally, when we finally got back home and tore the motor apart and finding things when you push a limit, it'll show up inside the motor. Like the way Cosworth did it, where they wanted the most maximum amount of compression. So believe it or not, something like this is gonna stretch at 15,000 RPM. So to get the most amount of compression, they had the piston touch the head, right? You know what's another thing that I'm not going to say where my source is, right?
Okay.
There's an acceptable amount of detonation. They have I can't say the team because I'll give it away. In let's say LMP or LMP2, right? They will intentionally see if it'll live with detonation for 24 hours. So they allow the motor. They call it an acceptable amount of detonation. Yeah, just like how you said.
The limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it could last detonating for 24 hours or 26 hours, then they're cool.
Yeah. So to answer your question, the idea here is I didn't get in over my head overall, was with a rotary, I don't think of it as an engine. I think of it as a collection of parts that have to just keep doing a thing together, and I don't know why they do, but it keeps making power. So the pinnacle of that being hidden in the corner because it's been a bad boy is the 12 rotor. The 12 rotor is just a chunk of metal and another chunk of metal, and Tyson built this thing originally for a boat motor, and it works. And so I got to believe that, okay, if I can control a rotary engine that happens to work, that same core theory should apply here. And granted, there are a ton of really smart people that help build this. Technology's got to the point where somebody like me, right at my limit, I have no data on how to tune it, but I was able to get it fired up. And
it's an air pump.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
Fucking air pump.
I just focus on it as a simple concept.
Here, and I'm gonna do that real quick because I don't want to ruin your feng shui here.
Yeah. And so that was it, and that's it fired up, and it just you just give it what it wants, which is an easy statement as you know, it takes a lot of years of learning what an engine wants to give it that. But it's become very simple to tune it. But one of my favorite things that you were kind of alluding to is at 15,000 RPM, it takes so much time to get a spark to ignite fuel relative to how fast the engine is moving. So, normal engines, you time it but don't detonate it. This engine is moving so fast that you spark it so much earlier than because it's just moving so fast. It's moving so fast. It's still the same amount of milliseconds of ignition and but the engine's moving so fast. It's just so crazy how that works. So I'm learning. You're doing math to do that, but it's just So to answer your question, yes, I felt like if I could do a rotary engine, I could do one of these cars and tune it, and then work my way backwards, and then disassemble it, and then ultimately reassemble it. So that engine, that bottom is I'll show you. Just take these two bolts off. That's a magnesium head.
Oh, bucket motor.
Yep.
Look at those keepers. What? Oh, so that way I can hold the button, the valve latch.
Yeah. So I didn't put the little things in yet. But the point I'm going to show you is that I just have this head was just like can I build a head? But wait till you see the engine.
No, I totally understand what's going on here. I'll tell you that.
I don't.
Oh, really?
Just kidding. I'm getting further, but yeah. So there.
Ooh, fire rings! Wow! Sick! Built into the sleeve.
Yeah. So then.
Holy shit! Damn! And this was oh no!
Yeah. So these are. It's a.
Man.
Yeah. And then an O-ring goes on the outside.
Oh no! And this is from the 90s.
Yeah. And so the thing that's important is that this is all so new to me, but then I ended up buying what I didn't know at the time was all their equipment for testing and getting the heights of everything and all. It's so sick that not only did I get engine parts, but I got their tooling to rebuild parts, and then also there's things for measuring everything. So I actually was taking all their measurement equipment and going, what?
Oh, you got the measuring equipment too?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So
I'm going to leave you.
show
Where-
it here.
Where would you like me to
Set
lay
that on the ground.
On the ground? For real?
Yeah. Well, I'll put it back. Yeah, so I got these ready because I knew you'd geek out too. But
Ooh, wow!
Yeah.
Digital Minatoyo. Oh, my Minatoyo stuff. I gotta take off my glasses and read it analog. But you got this Beverly Hills shit right
I'm
here.
fancy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so this is the stuff I like. I got this little I got this piece from them, and I sat there. I'm like, what is this?
It's a measure your valve height.
It's a flute. Yeah. So I didn't. I was like, okay, clearly it matches that, and that's how I work backwards.
Sick.
And then I was able to figure out, okay, that's for doing your bucket.
Yes. Yep.
So it's just like tools that they made, and now I have. And then this, valve drops.
Yeah.
So again, I didn't know what to measure, but this, getting their tools, I was like, oh, no way.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Those are the.
Cassidium. Is this a Cassidium coating?
I'm the wrong person to
Oh
ask.
my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, you have to understand on a valve train, right? I'll make sure to put it back because I'm OCD as you, right? These lobes slide onto that bucket. This is a Cassidium coated bucket.
Okay.
I'm surprised they didn't put a lubrication hole. Whatever. Ooh, has this been ran or is it brand new?
Those should be ran.
Wow. Usually there's supposed to be streaks on the side of this, and there's nothing because of the coating. I could be mistaken on what kind of coating this is, but this is a Beverly Hills Rodeo dry bucket. But this cam's even. Gosh, look at this. This looks like it's never been. This is pure. This is pure sex right here.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
gonna let you take this in for a minute, and then we're going back to Rotaries. So you're recharging.
This is I'm a. Oh wow. Anyways,
This has made my day because this has been so overwhelming for me.
yeah, no, this is all familiar to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because what we would do, because this is a lot of friction. This is all we knew back in the 90s, right? 2 JZs, 1 buckets, and it's metal to metal, right? Before they invented rollers and stuff like that, so that way there's zero friction. But just the coatings alone, and you're telling me this stuff is ran?
Yeah.
This is all like space shuttle shit right here.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh, you 3D printed it.
I 3D printed that to keep track of it.
My ghetto ass was using egg crate. You know, the egg for your eggs.
Yeah.
That's what I was using, and then I'd label it. Wow,
There.
this is sexy. Is this a rifle drilled one? No, I can't tell. Oh, it is rifle drilled. These are the plugs. So what they'll do is they'll rifle drill this thing, so that way it's lighter.
So it's hollow on the inside.
Yeah. So you can see there's a plug.
Yeah.
There's a plug.
Yeah, so I have, the thing is like with this, there's a column of stuff, or a row of stuff in the middle. Those are all different cams. They have 40 different cam profiles.
Yeah.
And so the older cam profiles are fatter than these, so I can grind them down. Instead of adding material, so if I need more cams, I can take their older
Webcam's
cams.
just down the street. But I don't think they can grind something. Maybe they can grind. Oh, well, they'll probably take the heat treat away from it and then grind it.
Okay.
Dude, you gotta feel reborn with all this stuff. It's one thing to learn about rotaries, but dude, you gotta be awakened like crazy.
It's such a scratching an itch. Now the problem is, it's a pretty big itch. And so,
hey, it's up there on the top.
Now this is my drug dealing moment. So I'm gonna take you over here.
Fuck.
And behind these,
Wow, it looks so sexy.
there's 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
2 rows. And then there's.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And then same thing over there. So, these are all.
Oh no! Oh no!
This is me opening the back of the van, showing you what I got. Finally, we came to a number, and
They're like, we finally have some jerk that's willing to buy
so there's
useless motors to anyone else.
exactly. And then I close it off.
No!
Yeah, I'll make you a good deal. But the thing is that my goal is to get these rehabilitated and get them rehomed. Get them a new life with a foster parent. But the more I understand about being able to build it properly, the better I could turn around and say, hey, I can take maybe half of them and sell them, and those people can beat the crap out of them.
I think what you've done here with all these Cosworth motors, right, is you've opened up Pandora's box. And you thought you wanted to put an end to, like, this is how this RX-7 for Pikes Peak is, and that's that. I think with you purchasing these motors, you're going to create at least 2 to 3 years of learning.
Yes.
Because you're a rotary guy.
It's too much for the time frame I thought it would be.
Do you ever? I mean, looking at that, is there a point when you, at first you bought it because it was cool, right?
I bought them because they wouldn't sell me the parts for that car.
Okay, so now
Now they're cool. Yeah.
Now that you've opened up Pandora's box, right? You ever feel overwhelmed that?
So the last 3 months, I've made so much less content because I'm trying to understand what I have. I don't want to be the person speaking without the authority of what I'm talking about.
Why don't you just have some guy follow you around, going like, "Wow, this is cool." Like, it's
makes
like
me feel good.
It's like discovering. It's like discovering the light bulb or something along those lines. Where, I mean, even opening up that and seeing how people see a air pump in a certain way. That's why when I see that, I'm like, oh, I see what they did here. I see what they did there. But there's other things, like when you opened up and I saw that fire ring built in to the sleeve, I was just like, fuck, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
So do you ever worry?
Yes, but here the thing is that, again, I have to kind of shut one door and open another, and then kind of peek back in that door, and then I gotta close the door again because I'm focusing too much on it. The issue I have right now is this is one fraction of what I'm doing. And that is, it's really exactly that's the actual overwhelming part of not biting off more you chew, but I'm chewing a lot every day. But the thing is that I'm trying to take everything I can, absorb it, and then make something better. And so the thing I'm gonna now that you've recharged, we're gonna go back into Rotaries, and I'll show you This is my ultimate, I guess, magnum opus.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So I'm known for the all-wheel drive four-rotor car. I rebuilt the engine. Now it's fully billet aluminum, so it's lighter. But I realized
This was in this.
Yeah.
Okay.
The previous version had more metal plates, steel plates. But I learned so much and realized I needed to learn more. Hence, this stuff that I stopped where I knew I couldn't really change. Before I make the intake manifold, before I do the whole oiling system, before I do anything more with this, including the entire car, let me learn this.
Because the technology from there will overlap.
Everything on this does three things. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't just do one thing. It's not just a pedestal for a thing. It also supports this or that, or it's the load bearing, it's the chassis. It's
a structural member of the whole chassis. Yeah.
And so that's why I was like, okay, I don't know enough to finish this. I really paused because I'm like, I need to learn more before I can do I don't want to be known as the Rotary guy and not be the Rotary guy.
Yeah.
And so that's what this has forced me to learn, is how to be the cosmic Rotary guy. And so what I've realized with this is this heart is pure. And this car, which is, like I said,
Well, that's the OG.
Yeah,
That's the OG. That's sentimental value.
Yeah, I've learned so much. And like I said, that's the car I owned since I was 18.
Yeah.
There's one more version coming.
That's why you're not gonna touch that.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. That car can't be touched because all that energy. I found the limit where I can't do too many things at once.
This is your opus.
Yep. And so the final version of this has been the reason I bought this. Everything else that I've done is to make the final version of what I want to be known for.
This is R&D to make your symphony.
Yep. Yes. Exactly. And so let me show you this.
There's Cosworth stuff everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, here. Check this out. So with prototyping and all that, this doesn't look like much, but this is actually the scan from that turned into a digital model, and we are building a final chassis for the car.
Prototyping.
Yeah, exactly. And what's really funny, this is really funny, is you can actually, when you grab it by the suspension mounting point, you can actually see, I broke this. I'm like, that is actually the weaker part of the chassis.
That's why they put a diagonal here now.
Yeah. It was like, I mean, obviously we have computers to simulate stuff, but you can really, we had too much triangulation in one spot.
See, kids, stay in school.
Yeah, play with 3D printers too, because it turns into like obviously it's exaggerated, but it's like, okay, 3D printing can really accelerate your learning. And so,
and you can see where the open where if you're to merely add an X or a diagonal, it would solve those issues.
And like, oh man, do I need more here? No, I don't need more there because that part's not flexing at all.
Yeah.
And obviously there's caveats and all that, but this is I guess version 2 proposed of what we're gonna do the final chassis.
Okay, here. Let me give. I don't know if this is going to help you at all. Right? Okay.
It's not.
When I was building the Mazda 6 drag car, right? And the fabricator that taught me Paul about, right? And something as simple as a stupid bracket, or let's say a radiator bracket, right? It would be perfect. And he'd go, and my fabricator guy who taught me, Paul, he'd always go, dude, what are you building, a space shuttle? Just get it done, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
we have a tendency to go overboard on even the most minuscule things to the point where we're not building the space shuttle and we have to go, all right, this is enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the balance I keep talking about.
Yeah. So that is a perfect segue into this little car right
Simple.
here. I tried simple.
People like me and him don't use the KISS policy. Keep it simple, stupid. But in this case, oh my God!
So
what on you?
I wanted to fire this up for you, but at the very least I can turn it over. This is hot off the press. I wired it last night and we're testing everything. But this is the turbo one rotor. And my goal was to try and keep it as simple as possible. And that was the hardest fucking thing ever because I know
you managed to complicate a simple situation.
I'm like,
this is a sickness. This is a major problem.
Yeah, I'm like, but on this car, I already did that. So I need to take it up a notch. And this car was way overdeveloped. but I can excuse. I know why. There's so many reasons why I wanted to overdevelop it, because that one rotor has to run really well.
It's not you.
No.
It's not you. We could be repairing a Hoover vacuum cleaner, and we'll figure a way to
Supercharge it.
overcomplicate the situation.
Yeah. So that was. This is, like I said. This is the first site. Of the
Oh,
scene
look at a
of
cute
it.
little turbo!
It's a little baby, and so it looks perfect for a Miata.
I know it matches,
It
right?
does. I got maybe make a little front trunk in this area.
You
Plenty
put
of
the
room.
spare tire down there.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
So this is like the baby. Like there's projects like this where it's kind of like scratching that itch,
Mm-hmm.
and then again trying not to overdo it. Like
And
it
you
took.
failed miserably.
It took.
in that.
Do you know how hard this is, Ron, to
Yeah.
not cut this off and do it myself? It hurts my soul knowing that this wire.
I know. What happens is things like that, or at least from my experience, it makes your skin crawl.
It hurts.
Yeah,
It hurts.
and you can't just leave a simple situation with stock components around it. You want to make it. Yeah. it
No, here.
sucks.
I'll give you this though.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn this thing over.
Okay, go.
Uh,
Oh wait, we'll make sure everything.
Yeah, make sure it's all away from the thing. And so the thing that cracks me up is just hearing only one rotor.
Oh, that's got to be interesting.
Yeah, it's just thump, thump, thump. So it's not on, obviously. It's just. Doop, 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 doop. So that's just one. Like I'm betting the house or whatever on one rotor. It's got to do 100% of the work. So that's the first time the world's heard it turn over. And if we're like I said, mid process of about ready to fire it up for the first time, but it's just like I was not expecting it to sound so dinky.
I'm
It's like
curious.
a single piston motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very curious how the harmonics is going to work on this, because there's no opposing combustion to offset it to create a circular movement, right?
Yeah.
So now you have one, and so I was thinking maybe when he's driving down the road, the car is going to rotate like this according to the rotor on the opposite direction because of the torque. That's why. Has anybody done this?
There's been one rotors, but they've not worked well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, car wise. Now drones are typically 30 horsepower one rotors. I don't know if the drone does this, but I don't have a clear answer of somebody that's done it to this level to be able to trust the data they're getting. But that's the thing, is that I wanted to do a fun little project, and it spiraled out of control.
As usual.
Yeah. But here, the thing we were kind of talking about is, like, I still have to push my limits. I'm not going to build a car just for YouTube. I don't want to do YouTube just to play the YouTube game.
That would be genuine.
Right, exactly.
You're
That's not what I want.
true to the what's going on in here.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
stay true. I mean, especially with what you assumed would be a simple.
This is my
project.
quick two-week adventure in and out. Nope.
No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Yeah, so that's kind of a glimpse into the world of what is open and causing me headaches and nosebleeds. It's absolutely beautiful.
But you've got to be fully
I'm satisfied.
enlightened.
Satisfied. My purpose, like that feeling of purpose,
Yeah.
maxed out. Like that slider bar is 100%. Almost two. I want less purpose.
Enlightenment and
Yeah.
curiosity is so paramount, because it keeps you. There's many people that climb a mountain and they don't want to climb the mountain. The process, right? The
Yeah.
journey
Yeah.
is where it's at, and you get enlightenment. That's why you gotta be. This is your crack cocaine methamphetamines right here.
It is, but it's also kind of like I've now become the unofficial like historian for this motor. Like I have this light
Because
bearing
Cosworth
that
kept
told-
it to themselves.
Yeah, so I take this responsibility as well of not just like, oh, this is mine personally and I get to play with them. That's cheating. I love that, but I also feel obligated to like document it for the world.
Ah.
So
Yep, I just finally getting to talk to you and digging into your brain and what drives you. I totally get it. I totally get it. Man, Rob, you truly are the mad scientist. I mean, this curiosity that killed the cat. Seeing all this, right? where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I certainly see myself being capable of telling some really good stories, and at least trying to put my money where my mouth is, and piloting and enjoying some very fast cars.
With that, I mean, did you have a 12 rotor, 10,000 horsepower dragster there that
Potentially, yeah.
apparently you're going to drive, right? You have this open wheel car, right?
Yep.
That you're learning a lot from, right? Where you have no business or no qualifications to drive it. Do you ever worry that one of your projects is going to kill you? Same thing with the Pikes Peak. We were talking about Pikes Peak. Oh, what happened there? Oh, whoa! This is from this?
Oh yeah. It's a little bit of art I've been working on, but yeah, the idea is that you got to work your way up, and so I'd rather
So when you fail, you get back up.
Yeah, that's right. Those parts are easy to replace, but I take my life very seriously. I have a lot in the future I want to do, so even when mishaps happen, try to do it at a low speed, and then have everything buttoned up when you go for fast things.
Wow, you have a lot on your plate.
We could talk for hours.
No, just what you have here. I hate to ask this.
Yeah.
And anything on the horizon that you're curious about?
Yeah, so again,
Rocket ship.
turbines,
Space shuttle. Internship at F1.
Yeah.
How are you gonna screw up your life any more than it already is?
You know what? Thankfully, I still have that urge to put my money where my mouth is. So I've got a couple years of fulfillment here,
Mhm.
and then your question becomes extremely uncomfortably relevant.
Oh wow.
I'll be asking that myself too.
One thing's for sure, I tip my hat off to you. This is how I like my life too. It's a sickness,
Yes.
right? But the enjoyment we have from learning is just, I can see it, and I get excited too when I say, dude, look at this! Oh my gosh! But whoo, you have a lot on your plate. You have a lot on your plate. What would you like to tell your viewers out there? I mean,
Yeah.
this guy truly is a savant.
Yeah.
Truly. What do you want to tell your viewers out there?
I want them to know that the story for the four-rotor is going to enter the final act, where myself as a driver, the car as a performer, are going to do everything that I've ever dreamed of doing with it. And so,
And what's that dream?
you know what?
Pikes Peak?
Pikes Peak is one aspect of that. I think that just the way that Ken Block lived his life, really, it was an inspiration to me. And I don't think I can be Ken Block, but I think I can do my own thing inspired by him. And I think that that's my vehicle in many senses, the vehicle for me to do that. So, yeah, I think the four-rotor, when that comes out, I think that's going to drop some.
Well, there's a lot of heart with that. How you don't mind me asking you about how old are you?
42.
So 42. So close to over half your life has been that vehicle.
That specific car.
So there's a lot of heart there. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with that. Your Opus, your
My magnum opus.
Yeah, your magnum opus, and just man, it's such a pleasure digging into your brain. You are truly Tony Stark, and
I'm not crying, I'm sweating. But it is a very good compliment. Thank you.
yeah, you truly are Tony Stark, and curiosity.
Yeah, it's rewarding.
It's beautiful.
It's rewarding.
And Rob, tell everywhere to tune in to your crazy madness.
Yes. So I am very unoriginal when it comes to finding me. It's my first and last name, or just my last name. Or if you don't even remember that, just look up 4-rotor RX-7, and you'll be able to find me. But it's Rob Dahm,
Dahm!
whenever you're trying to find me, that's how to find me.
So, that's the latest episode of Psychotics Anonymous, OCD Anonymous,
Not so anonymous.
this is, for me personally, Rob. It's been a great podcast, especially from an engineering curiosity level. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you, Rob, a lot for letting us into your brain.
Thanks for enjoying it. That means a lot to me.
Yeah. We can go on and on for another 2 hours, but thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Follow Rob for Driving Line. Be sure to like and subscribe on Driving Line on the podcast. And we have some more crazy people that were coming up, so stay tuned.
Go ahead. It sounds like it's broken.
A fucking lawnmower, man.
It's a lawnmower.
What the shit? That is fucking
That's
cool.
amazing. We got the best guy commenting on this. That's it. That is it. He's right. It does sound like a lawnmower.